What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thank you for watching. Really quick before we get started, I want to apologize for no upload last week. I actually filmed a video and then had second thoughts on posting it. I made a video on my IG explaining all that. If you want to see it, go follow me over there. But we're back, and this one is definitely getting posted because today we have a good one. This is the AEA HP Max 50 cal air pistol. Now, as I always like to do when we have one of these out, I want to remind you guys that these are not considered firearms. So if you can't own a gun because of criminal record or the state you're in or something like that, air rifles might be a good second option. And these have quickly become probably my favorite videos to make because I'm always just shocked at the capability of these things. And I suspect the 50 cal air pistol will also be very powerful. Let's find out. All right, guys, like I said, this is the AEA HP Max. By the way, I wanna thank thepelletshop.com for sending this out, as always. I really appreciate their support. So again, this is an air gun that shoots a 50 caliber projectile. And there it is. That is a big pellet. So this is a PCP gun, which means it has an air tank on board, and that is what powers the rifle. The amount of shots you can get out of these things per fill kind of depends on how powerful it is. I have some that will shoot 40, others that will shoot 2, literally. So we'll see how this one does. Now, the last couple air guns that I had were single shot. So you would cycle the bolt, put your round in the chamber, close it, and you had to do that with every shot. This one actually uses a magazine. So it holds 6 rounds, you can see them in there, and then there's a little slot on top of the receiver where the magazine goes. You kind of have to pull the charging handle back to get it in, and it locks in place just like that. There's also a folding mechanism right here on the side where you can attach a stock, which I'll show you here in a minute. But since it is a pistol, I thought we would shoot it like this first. So chamber around, safety's on the side right there. Go ahead and put it on fire. Let's see what this thing can do. I've never shot an air pistol like this before, so I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, but I'll just hang on to it and see what it does. I'm gonna aim for that white gong. It's obviously not zeroed because this is my very first shot, but we'll see where it goes. That is a very powerful air gun. The recoil impulse is actually kind of nice. Cock it. The magazine rotated. Let's see if we got another one in there. Man. This thing is awesome. It's actually hitting the target. Dude. We'll just see if we can get through all 6. I'm gonna go for that tiny little green target. Yeah. All right, last round. Go for the white one again. Man. This is awesome. Okay, so don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the gauge for the air tank is right there on the bottom, and that significantly dropped the amount of air that we have in it. It was in the yellow when we started, and now it's like all the way down to the green. So it looks like one magazine is probably the most you would want to do, because once the air level starts dropping, the shots do get less powerful. But I'll be honest, all 6 of those felt about the same. We'll see how it looks on camera. All right, so I told you that it does have an optional butt stock. I went ahead and put it on, and I'm not gonna lie, I like it a lot better like this. If I was gonna use this thing, I would probably never take the stock off. It does fold to the side if you wanna get it out of the way, but even with the stock, it's still a tiny little thing. So let's try it like this. We'll start with a honeydew melon. Don't know what to expect here, but whoa! So that one might have went a little bit to the left. I'll have to watch the slow-mo footage. Again, I did not sight this thing in at all, so I'm kind of just guessing, but it still exploded that honeydew melon, which I didn't really expect. Not bad. And you can see the damage to our honeydew melon. It looks like about half of it is still on the table, and we have pieces all over the property out here. If that would have been more of a hit to the middle, there probably wouldn't be much left. That was crazy. Okay, I shifted the zero a couple clicks to the right. We'll go ahead and try a pineapple. This is an even smaller target than the honeydew melon, so hopefully we can hit it. By the way, I have not refilled the air tank, so we might be getting low, but we'll see what it does. I'm just gonna slowly pull the trigger. If I were just to show you these slow-mo clips, you would not know this was an air gun unless I told you. It is absolutely destroying these targets. And last but not least, for the produce section, we have a watermelon. These usually react the best, so. I'm surprised there's no holdover at this close range. It's like, even at 10 yards, the pellet is hitting pretty much dead on, so. Just opened it up. Well, it's hard to say. I might actually put the honeydew melon above the watermelon in terms of which one was most dramatic. But either way, it just obliterated all of those targets. And for an air gun, this thing is super powerful. I would say it definitely compares to a low-level firearm, for sure. All right, guys, last time we had an air gun out here, we did a peanut butter penetration test. I don't remember how many it went through. I want to say it was like 5 or 6. So today I thought we would try it again. On the table, I have 7 2-pound tubs of Jif creamy peanut butter, and we are gonna see how many it takes to stop the 50 cal air gun. Last time this was kind of messy. We'll see what happens this time. Now, what I don't want to happen is for the pellet to go through and hit one of those steel targets, so hopefully it stops. Try to get the right angle on it here. That did not happen last time. I've got peanut butter all over me and on the rifle. That sucks. And there's peanut butter jar number 1 right there. I assume that is the entrance hole. And obviously this one looks like it is the most empty out of all of them. Only about half of that peanut butter is still in there. I'm really gonna try not to get covered in this stuff. There's the exit hole on jar number 1 right there, and jar number 2, entrance hole and exit hole. So it went through at least 2 of them. And here's jar number 3. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a hole on both sides. I assume that is the entrance hole. And jar number 4 also got hit. There's a hole on the front and a hole on the back. No way. That is our projectile. 50 cal air gun bullet laying right there on the table in between jars number 4 and 5. So it looks like number 5 was hit. There's even a hole in it. I don't want to touch that, but I'll go ahead and do it. Okay, so there is no exit hole on jar number 5, but there is a hole on the front. It probably went through 4, hit 5, but didn't have enough on it to go all the way through, and that is awesome. Last time I had to dig through the peanut butter. This time it's just laying on the table. The bullet didn't really expand, which is kind of what I expected because that's the same thing that happened last time. It did flatten out a little bit, but I just don't think peanut butter is dense enough to expand these hollow points, but it did stop it, and this one went through 4 almost into 5. So pretty similar to the last time, I think. All right, the next test I want to do is one that I actually didn't even plan on, but I saw this thing in my truck and I thought that would be a great way to see how the air gun stacks up with some other firearms that we've tested. So this is an old military helmet that we have shot and tested several times in the past, as you can see. And just to give you a reference, this helmet stopped a .22 long rifle and a .38 special. It did not stop the .357 Magnum. That's where that giant hole came from. So I want to see if it can stop the 50 cal air pistol. And to be honest, I think it probably will, because when it comes to stuff like this, velocity is most important, and I don't think that air gun is breaking 1,000 feet per second, but it is a big bullet, so let's find out. And shout out to Bob for being such a good sport and letting us test this kind of stuff on him. I'm gonna try not to put it high because I don't want it to glance off the top. Well, I think it stopped it based off how the helmet absorbed that impact. That's the first time we've ever completely knocked it off his head like that, so let's check it out. And there's the bullet impact. It actually did stop it, which doesn't surprise me, but look at the size of that dent. And then if I flip it over, man, that came very close to going all the way through. Hopefully you can see how far it caved that helmet in. I would say that is a bigger dent than we got from the .38 special, and definitely a bigger bullet impact. So it stopped it, which is what I expected, but I still think that's more powerful than the .38 special. It definitely did more damage to the helmet, and that was a much harder impact. So that's kind of impressive. Well, apparently there's a big storm on the way, so we're gonna go ahead and do our last test, and hopefully we can get it done before the rain hits. Next up, we are shooting water. I've got a 5-gallon water jug laying on the table. I assume this will be enough to stop the 50 cal air gun, and I'm hoping that the bullet will actually expand in this so that we can pull it out when we're done and see what it looks like. All right, obviously for bullet expansion, velocity is the most important thing, so I went ahead and refilled the air tank. Let's see if we can capture this bullet. All right, that projectile went in right there, pretty much right in the middle of our first water jug, and I'm glad that at the last second I decided to add a second water jug, because it actually did pass all the way through the first one. You can see the exit hole right there on the end, and it did not go into the second one. And this is where having a slow-mo camera really comes in handy, because I had no idea where that bullet went. And when I watched the slow-mo, I saw it pass through the first one and bounce off the second one. So it didn't have a whole lot of velocity left on it. And luckily, I was able to find it right here on the ground. And there it is. That is a fully expanded 50 caliber air gun bullet. And look at the size of that thing. It's at least an inch in diameter, if not bigger. I also grabbed the first one that we shot through the peanut butter just to show you the size difference. And you can see that hollow point at least doubled in size, if not more. And in the process, I also found one that went through either our watermelon or our honeydew melon, and it also expanded. Not quite as good as it did in water, but the bullet did expand. So it looks like the peanut butter is probably the only target that didn't expand the bullet, which kind of proves that this air gun definitely has enough velocity. So I'll go ahead and give you one more look at it. That is a massive projectile, full expansion, and it stayed intact. It didn't fragment or break apart on impact. So I think we can safely say this would be a very effective air gun caliber. That's for sure. All right, guys, that is gonna conclude our video on the AEA HP Max 50 cal air pistol. I'll be honest, this is probably one of my favorite air guns I've ever tried so far. It's not as powerful as the Zeus or nothing like that, but just the overall size, weight, portability, the fact that you can shoot it as a rifle or a pistol, and as we saw, the power and capability of this thing is just hard to beat, in my opinion. So again, I want to thank thepelletshop.com as always for sending this out. I really appreciate their support. They have some really cool stuff coming in the near future that I'm going to try my best to get my hands on. So stay tuned for that. I know a lot of you guys do like air guns, and I'm a big fan as well. This thing was awesome. So hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down in the comments below. As always, hit the like button for me, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.